The night my mother tried to put a key to my apartment on my sister's keychain was the night I realized I was never actually the daughter in this family. I was the contingency plan. And I know that sounds dramatic. Trust me, I've replayed it in my head 100 times, trying to make it smaller than it felt. But some moments don't shrink, no matter how politely you try to remember them. My name's Zoe Upton. I'm 30. I live 25 minutes from my parents in a one-bedroom apartment with beige carpet I keep meaning to replace and a balcony that overlooks a parking lot and one very stubborn maple tree. I work remotely for a small auditing firm. I'm studying for my CPA exam. My life is quiet, structured, peaceful. Apparently, that makes me available. It started 3 weeks after Meredith announced her third pregnancy. Not at a dinner table this time. No applause, no speech, just a Sunday family meeting, which in our house is code for, we've already decided and now we're informing you. When I pulled into my parents' driveway, I saw Meredith's minivan, Todd's truck, and my dad's old Silverado lined up like a committee. I remember sitting in my car for a full minute, watching Sophie chase Jack around the yard. The air smelled like freshly cut grass and charcoal. It would have looked normal to anyone else. It didn't feel normal to me. Inside, Donna had that overly bright hostess energy, the tight smile, the too cheerful voice. Zoe, there she is. She kissed my cheek like I'd just come back from war instead of living 25 minutes away. We sat around the kitchen table. Same table I did homework at. Same table where Meredith always sat to Mom's right like a queen in training. Meredith didn't waste time. So, she said, rubbing her belly in that way she does now, like she's permanently framing herself for a photo. Todd's hours got cut again. Todd cleared his throat but didn't look at me. And daycare? Meredith continued. For 3? It's insane. Like, actually insane. I nodded slowly. I knew daycare was expensive. Everyone knows that. Donna reached across the table and squeezed my hand. That's why we've been thinking. We. Whenever my mother says we, my stomach drops. Dad leaned back in his chair, arms crossed. You've got that spare bedroom. I blinked. Yeah? Meredith smiled like I'd just answered correctly on a quiz. We thought it would make sense if Sophie stayed with you during the week. Just for a while, so she's not in full-time daycare. It took a second for the words to land. Stayed with me? I repeated. Just Monday through Friday, Meredith said lightly. You work from home anyway. She's in kindergarten. You just drop her off and pick her up. Just. Donna chimed in. It would be so good for you too. A little company. You're alone so much. There it was. The narrative. I'm alone. I'm lonely. I need saving. I looked at Dad. And you think this is reasonable? He shrugged. Family helps family. I felt that familiar heat behind my ribs, the one that builds when I realize everyone else has been in on a conversation I wasn't invited to. I have work, I said carefully. I'm studying. I have the CPA exam in October. Meredith waved a hand. Zoe, you're smart. You'll pass. But this is urgent. Urgent. Like my life is optional and hers is time-sensitive. Todd finally spoke quietly. It's just until the baby's here. I stared at him. And then what? Silence. Because everyone knows just until in our family means indefinitely. Donna leaned forward. Honey, we paid for part of your college. We've always supported you. There it was. The $12,000. The invisible invoice that never stops accruing interest. I felt something inside me go still. Not explosive, not angry, just still. So because you helped me 8 years ago, I said slowly, I owe you weekday custody of my niece? Donna's eyes widened. Don't twist it. I'm not twisting it, I said. My voice was steady, which surprised even me. I'm clarifying it. Meredith's smile disappeared. Wow. Okay. And then she said it. Must be nice to have so little responsibility. It hit harder than if she'd slapped me. So little responsibility. I work 40 hours a week. I manage accounts. I pay rent. I study nights and weekends. I've built something from scratch without a husband's income or parental subsidies. But because I don't have children, I'm unburdened. Is that what you think? I asked her quietly. She shrugged. I think you don't understand real pressure. That's when Dad stood up and walked into the hallway. He came back holding something small and metallic, my spare apartment key. I froze. Meredith, he said casually, extending it toward her. You might as well have this now. I didn't even remember giving him that copy. I must have handed it over years ago, just in case. Meredith reached for it, and something in me snapped. Don't, I said. The word came out sharper than I intended. The room went still. Don't give her that, I repeated, standing up. My heart was pounding so loud I could hear it in my ears. Dad frowned. It's practical. It's my apartment. Meredith looked offended. We're not breaking in, Zoe. Relax. That's not the point. Donna's voice took on that warning tone. Lower your voice. I wasn't yelling, but I was done being small. You don't get to redistribute access to my home like it's a storage unit, I said. You don't get to decide my time or my space. Dad's face hardened. You're being selfish. There it was. The word that's been waiting for me my entire life. Selfish. Because I don't default to yes. I looked at Meredith, at her hand hovering inches from my key, at my mother gripping her napkin like this was somehow happening to her. And I realized something. If I let that key change hands, my life would quietly stop being mine. So I walked across the room, took the key from my father's hand, and slipped it into my pocket. No, I said. It wasn't loud. It wasn't theatrical. It was final. Donna stood up so fast, her chair scraped the tile. After everything we've done for you, there it is again. Everything. I took a breath. You helped me, and I've always been grateful, but help isn't ownership. Meredith's eyes were shiny now. I can't believe you'd let your niece go to daycare with strangers. I almost laughed at that, the emotional gymnastics. I'm not letting anything happen to her, I said. You are her parents. That's your job. Todd looked like he wanted the floor to swallow him. Dad shook his head. You're going to regret this attitude. Maybe. But I knew I'd regret giving in more. I left. Again. Different day, same driveway. This time I wasn't shaking. I felt clear. That night my phone blew up. Donna crying. Meredith furious. A text from Aunt Beth asking if I was okay. Apparently the story had already spread. But here's the twist no one expects. I didn't collapse. I didn't spiral. I changed the locks. The next morning. Cost me $180 and an awkward explanation to the building manager. Worth every penny. And then I went back to my kitchen table, opened my CPA prep book, and studied like my future depended on it. Because it does. The fallout was messy. Donna didn't speak to me for 2 weeks. Dad left one voicemail that said, "Call your mother." Meredith posted a vague quote about loyalty on Instagram, but something interesting happened. Nothing fell apart. Meredith and Todd found a part-time daycare arrangement. Donna started watching the kids twice a week. Todd picked up extra shifts. The world kept spinning. Turns out, I was never the only solution, just the easiest one. A month later, Dad called. He didn't apologize. Of course he didn't. But he said, I shouldn't have handed over your key. That's as close as he gets. Donna texted eventually. I miss you. I replied, I'm still here. Because I am. I still love my family. I still show up for birthdays. I still babysit occasionally when I'm asked. Not assigned. Meredith and I aren't what we were, but maybe what we were wasn't healthy anyway. And here's what I've learned. Sitting at my little beige carpet kitchen table with flashcards spread out and coffee going cold. Boundaries don't destroy families. They reveal them. If your role in the system only works when you're silent and compliant, that's not love. That's convenience. I chose myself, not because I don't care, but because I finally do. So if you're listening to this and you're the available one, the single one, the responsible one, and everyone keeps volunteering your time like it's community property, pause. Ask yourself whose life you're actually building, because you don't owe anyone your future in exchange for their past support. And if this story hit a little too close to home, you're not alone. Seriously, you're not crazy, you're not selfish. You're allowed to lock your door, literally and emotionally. If you want more stories like this, the kind where women stop shrinking and start choosing themselves, subscribe to Revenge Diary and share this with someone who needs the reminder that no is a complete sentence. I'll see you in the next one.